What up, guys? Jason Geiman here. We already got 11 likes, and that is awesome. Go ahead and like it right now. So, this is a person that I have on tonight, Jason Geiman. I'm King of Pressure Washing. Pressure Wash help you grow your business and be successful. Hey, I ain't got myself talking over here. That's a change for one. So, I had some of my one of my guys in my community. He's like, "Hey, Jason, you need to have Leon on." And so I said, "All right, I'll have Leon on." I've known Leon. I've seen him in the pressure washing groups and in the things there for a long time. And so he has a wealth of information. He has a lot of information on machines and that kind of stuff. He has a YouTube channel. I will put it in link in the description. I forgot to do that, but I will put it on there. We're already up to 30 people, Leon. Look at all these people you're bringing already. So this is something that Leon. We're going to talk about Leon, and we're going to just kind of go through and have a night of what has made him successful, what can help you become successful. Is it all the big glamorous rigs? And he does have an awesome rig. Does that make him successful? Does his website? We're going to just talk about different things. And so, Leon, tell me a little bit about yourself, like like your family and that kind of stuff.
Okay, I've been married 42 years. My wife, we met when I was 18, got married, and had two children, one 40 years old, one 38 years old, and I'm 60 years old. Uh, I pastored for 29 years, and during my last 3 years before I retired of pastoral work, I started pressure washing. Basically,
So you were actually a pastor before you started pressure washing?
correct, for 29 years.
Really? So that's actually an interesting thing. So what made you retire from being a pastor?
Well, after you've done it for so long, you feel like you just know the time and needs to be a change in your life. And so our church went through a Dave Ramsey class, and he kept talking about supplemental income, supplemental income. So I thought to myself, what could I do to supplement my income? So pressure washing just came to my mind. Never pressure washed in my life. Never even knew anybody that pressure washed, and so I told my buddy about it, and he said, "Well, I got a pressure washer if you want to borrow it." So I borrowed his pressure washer. I had an old trailer. I had 50 foot of hose. Didn't know what I was doing. Started rolling it around people's houses. I took a pump up sprayer and started spraying their house with bleach and rinsing it off with a pressure washer. And that's how I got started. My first week in business, I did $3,800.
$3,800 in your first week of business. Now that's pretty awesome right there. That's not too bad, and this is a long time ago. This isn't even recently. And so with that, I mean, I guess really being a pastor, how big of a church was you a pastor of?
We had about 300 regular members.
Now is that in Lagrange also?
Yes, in LaGrange. Yep.
So this is kind of like what I've been talking with Al, was a school teacher all of those years. As a pastor, I say you had a pretty good network of people that knew who you was. Is that not correct?
Correct. Yeah. People.
Networking is a great way to grow your business. You don't have, if you have a network of people, this is definitely one way that you can grow your business, for sure. And as long as you're using that network and using it and all that kind of stuff. So you said, so we was a pastor before you started. So how long ago was it that you started being a pressure washer?
12 years ago. And, Jason, guys ask me all the time, best advertisement. Well, when I started, we didn't have all these sites to go and get information and get all these guys have knowledge. And I just printed out a bunch of flyers off of my computer and started putting them on mailboxes. And I think my first year I put out like 5,000 flyers. And I'm at a place in my business now. I don't do any advertisement anymore. It's just all word of mouth.
And I've looked at Leon's website. It's not nothing sexy or nothing, high dollar. He probably got about $20 into his website. Um,
Yeah.
and it ranks and it does amazing. But again, once you start growing that business, you can get to that level and you can grow it for sure. And that is a good thing right there. Um, and them are some things that a lot of times people want to just know why, they want to think that, they think that they can come into an area and they're going to pay all this money and that website's going to rank above people that have been in it for 12 years that did do some stuff on the website in the beginning. He has links coming to that website, and it's going to be hard to get you off of that number one spot. And it doesn't matter if his site looks like a dinosaur or not. I mean, my site of Pressure Wash Cincinnati is still ranking number one, and I haven't touched it in probably 5 years. After I sold it 2 years ago, and I hadn't probably touched it in 2 or 3 years before that. And so this is some things that you got to think about, and this is why a lot of times, he don't have to go do. Do you even do signs at all?
No, I don't. I bought some, never put them out. And I've got on my truck, it just on my side of my window, it says Southern Style Pressure Wash, and that's about the extent of my advertisement. And I get new customers daily calling me. And if you give people good, fair prices, quality work, and you do what you say you're going to do, your business will grow. It'll grow faster than what you can handle.
Now, when you was a pastor and you became a pressure washer, are you a hands-on type of person, or are you more of the when you was a pastor you didn't really get your hands too dirty through all those years?
No, I was hands on. I enjoy,
Tinkering with stuff and that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. And when I started my business, like I said, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what an O-ring was. I didn't know you need to keep O-rings in your toolbox. I didn't know you need to keep different connectors. And I mean, I was just totally lost on all that stuff. And I guess my saving grace was the first week I was in business, I heard about an X-Jet. So I X-jetted for 5 years and thought that was the way to go. And then eventually everything evolved, and I'm sure we'll talk about that eventually, but evolved where it is now.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. So, so what in the beginning? You said you put out 5,000 flyers. Was there anything else you did in the beginning to help get customers?
Yeah, I think my number one thing that helped me most of all in LaGrange, we had a little shopper that did nothing but advertisement. And it came out every 2 weeks and it reached 42,000 people. And I got on the front page and I told the guy, I said, put me on the front page. He said, well, we got a lot of people wanting to be on the front page and we can put you on there every once in a while. I told him, I said, well, don't even run my ad unless I can be on the front page. But long story short, uh, every 2 weeks I was on the front page, had a big ad, and I guess I grew my business mainly off of that front page because I was out there every 2 weeks going to 42,000 homes.
And how long did you do that for?
I did that for about probably 4 years, and they eventually shut it down. The guy sold his business and they shut it down, but that was probably one of my greatest success as far as advertisement. Being on the front page, because if you're inside the page and people open it up, they're gonna look right on past you. Some may see it, but if you get on the front page of a little local ad, that's real good.
And how much did that end up running costing you to put it being that on that front page?
It was $285 every 2 weeks.
And that was probably quite a bit of money way back when.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of money, and I didn't know if I could afford it. But one house started paying for it, so it worked out real good. And now you got to realize, 12 years ago, I didn't know nothing about the $99 guy, and so my ad ran most houses, $99 to $149. But I've never washed a house for $99, but it got me in the door. And guys make fun of the $99 guy, and which a lot of them are ridiculous in this day and time. But you got to figure 12 years ago. But I never washed a house for $99. Every house I washed, would be way above that.
And how did you end up? How did you do that? How was you able to get your price up?
I just, most people when they called me, they would always say, "I know my house is not going to be $99." So I knew I had them before I even went to their house. And when I got there, I looked around. I said, "You're right." I said, like a 1,500 square foot home, I charge them $135, $140, and which back then that it took me a little while to do that, but now 1,500 square foot house, we're in and out in 30 minutes.
And how
15.
much are you still charging $135?
No, we get a little more of that now. In my area, I always tell guys, kind of look at your area, what the income is. Our income in LaGrange is really quite low. I think the average household is 20 something $1,000, single person, 50,000 for, couple. So I kind of base it on my area, what I feel like I can get. Now I can drive 30 minutes up the road to Noonan, Georgia, towards Atlanta, and I can double my price. I can drive 40 miles the opposite direction towards Auburn, Alabama, and double my price.
Now, do you do much of that, or do you just stay around the house?
I used to drive anywhere anybody called, but I'm at a place now, 15, 20 miles is about my limit.
And so, talking a little bit about that, how many? So you don't do this by yourself, correct? You have some employees.
Correct. I've got 2 to 3 guys that usually help me. If we got, like the Great Wolf Lodge, we do that. I have 4 guys that help me. I have some guys kind of just do other stuff, but they help me on the side here and there if we got real busy. But my greatest luck has been with these little guys getting out of school, working them, training them, and they do great, man. They're strong, young, and energetic.
So Reggie wants to talk a little bit about the Great Wolf Lodge. Let's talk since you brought that up. How long have you had that contract?
I think they've been in business 3 or 4 years, and so we've had it started. Uh, They went online looking for pressure washing companies. We popped up first. They called me. I went out there and talked to them about it, and started doing it for them.
And how long did it used to take you? How long did it take you when you first started doing it?
We first started. We get there like 8 o'clock, and at night and leave at 1 in the morning, 1 or 2 in the morning. And now we got it down pat, which we've evolved with our equipment, and we're there hour and a half now.
Gotcha. And how has that helped grow your business?
It's held pretty good. I mean, it's a steady monthly income. It's year round every month, and so we do all the indoors every month. And summertime we do the outside of the sidewalks around the building. And so it's been real good. It's nice to have that guaranteed income.
Have you gotten any other business because you were at the Great Wolf Lodge and people know you do that?
I'm sure I have. I hadn't had anybody just actually come out and say that, but I'm sure I have.
Gotcha. And um, have you? I mean, with the Great Wolf Lodge, that's something that you're getting every month, for the last 3 years. That helps out a lot, which he puts awesome. Thank you, Reggie. But, this is something that is nice to be able to get this reoccurring. Do you got any other reoccurring stuff around your town or anything?
I've got a few banks that I clean every 3 weeks. Our hospital, I got that job. We do that. They do it about every other year. Just put in another quote for that the other day. Callaway Gardens, I don't know if you're familiar with them, is people travel from all around the world to come to Callaway, see the flowers and the fantasy and lights. And so we do all their cleaning. They have 157 cottages, so we clean all those. We clean the roofs, we clean the gutters. Then they've got 47 villas that we do also. So we do quite a bit of business with them. We got several pretty good contacts. Duracell here in town, we do all their business about 3 or 4 times a year. We do stuff for them. So we've got several that's really pretty good contracts.
So I would say being a pastor probably helped you on the sales side of things, of answering the phone and that kind of stuff. Would that be not true there?
Probably so. I had never really thought about it, but I guess it helps me having that personal contact. I still do the personal contact, Jason. I'm still old school when people call me. Guys ask me all the time, do you just bid over the phone? I really like to go see the people face to face and shake their hand and meet them and, talk to them and sell that way.
Now, on talking about that, let's go back one step though. Are your guys running your truck and you're not there, or are you on the truck also?
I'm hands on. I tried that one time. I actually put on another trailer and another truck, and I fired the guys after 3 weeks because I had more callbacks than I ever had since I started. And so now if I was a younger man, got started this thing years and years ago, I'm sure I had several crews by now, but I like hands-on. I like to be there. I like to meet the people. I just like to see the job from the beginning to the end, you know?
It's kind of like church, isn't it? You see somebody dirty, and the next thing you know, it's all clean. It's just a house
Yeah,
instead of a person, right?
yeah, I baptize their house instead of them.
Put some bleach on it, and it's good to
There
go.
you, there you go.
No, that's awesome. So, but talk. So you do you do everything in person, which that does help being where you're only 15 miles around, correct?
Right. If I was in a larger city, I'm sure I couldn't do that. But in a small town that I'm in, you know, population, I think 60,000 people. And with 60,000 people, I mean, it's awesome the business that I actually do.
So, how many jobs do you end up trying to do a day?
We try to do, when we're real busy, we do 6 to 8 per day. And that's like doing a house, driveway, swimming pool area, sidewalks, maybe a roof in there also. But we can average 6 pretty easy with the equipment we got.
So let's talk a little bit about equipment because you know everybody loves equipment. Now let's talk before we get there. Can we make this kind of money without all the nice equipment?
Oh yeah, yeah, you can make it. You just can't make it as fast.
Right, right. You're not getting 6 jobs a day at that point done a day.
Right. That's
So what all equipment do you have? Because you got a pretty cool trailer going on there.
Yeah, well, I have, first of all, I have a 525 gallon water tank. I have 100-gallon bleach tanks. I have a fire hydrant hookup so I can keep my 500-gallon full. I have three 10-gallon per minute, the new Honda 800s. I've got those,
How are those? I haven't got to use one yet.
and they are excellent. I love them. You know, when you go from a 4-gallon to an 8-gallon, you think you just changed the world.
Yeah.
Well, when you 8-gallon to 10-gallon, it's just even twice as great. And then I have the 2 gas roof pumps, which I think that's what's probably got me popular in the last several years is the gas roof pump. Because, you know, they pump 11 gallons per minute, 300 PSI. And so when we pull up to a job, Jason, I grab the gas roof pump, I pre-treat the driveway. My guys jump on the driveway. I wash the house. I rinse the house with the gas roof pump. And usually 45 minutes, we can do an average house, 1,800 to 2,500 square feet and driveway within an hour, and we're gone.
And how much is your average ticket about?
Yeah, about $500.
So you're in and out in an hour and you made $500 pretty much.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
not too shabby. And you're doing that 6 jobs a day.
Right. Yeah, on my slow days, you know, I feel like if I do $1,500 a slow day to me.
Right.
So I feel like I can keep it around $2,500 a day. I'm doing pretty good.
But $2,500 a day for one truck is pretty good in rocking it, unless you're in a high dollar neighborhood and you're getting high tickets. So that's a very good. Now, are you gonna would this isn't something that a new block guy is just going to be able to get there because what it comes down to is he's getting enough leads so that he can keep this many jobs going per day. And that is the ticket. And he's getting so many leads that he's not even advertising or nothing. You know, he could do a lot more if you wanted to at the end of the day.
Yeah, I could easily put on another truck, and you know, I mean, I'm not going to be in this business too much longer, too many more years. So if I was, I would definitely train some young guys and probably put on like a flatbed so they wouldn't have to pull a trailer and expand my business. But you know, I'm real content with what we do and the money we make.
So, what are you going to do in retirement, in the next retirement?
Well, we own a mobile home park, and we have 20 some odd trailers that we own. So that keeps me pretty busy also.
Is that local to you then?
It is. It is.
Gotcha. 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 Now, do you invest anything into retirement and stuff like that as you're growing your business or getting business?
Oh yeah, yeah. I put back, you know, always put back. And this is what I tell guys too, you know, I live the same lifestyle year round. In my busy months, I don't try to go out here and buy a bunch of stuff and live high on the hog. It's the same lifestyle from, you know, January to January. So that way, it gives you money put back. If we have a cold winter, I don't have to worry about it. Got a nice little cushion.
So did you have a retirement from the church, or are you just getting a retirement through building it through this pressure washing business?
Yeah, more or less through this pressure washing business. You can't get rich being a pastor.
No, unless you're in a big mega church.
Right, right,
but but this is something that a lot of the guys out there does not talk about this a lot about putting back for retirement, because you're 60 years old and the last thing you want to do is work till you're 80. Now if you want to you can, but it's good to put back. It's good to invest in trailer parks. It's good to invest in the rental houses and stuff like that, so that way you can grow your business and grow other things at the end of the day. And a lot of that stuff's a good tax write off at the end of the day too.
right, right.
That's the bonus part of it.
And Jason, with my equipment, I replace my equipment every year because I can. People ask me all the time, "Why do you do it?" I say, "Because I can." And I mean, a gas roof pump, I don't keep it more than 6 months. I'll replace it every 6 months. Not that it tears up. It's just that I like to keep new equipment because when I first started out, I spent more time in people's yard fixing stuff than I was buying stuff. So, uh,
I've been there, done that.
yeah, and trailer just about every year.
Yeah, I've been there, done that, of having to fix stuff and breaking down, and that's no fun at the end of the day. That's no fun at all.
And these young guys. I mean, my main goal is to help these young guys to kind of teach them and show them, where you can be, and let them know we all been there, done that. We wore the same shoes you're wearing right now, and you got to crawl before you walk.
And people think that it's easy and that it's just going to automatically just blow up and happen, and it's not. I mean, you put out 5,000 flyers, that's a couple miles walking in the beginning, if it wasn't not.
Oh yes, that's right.
And
Yeah,
how many times did you go in the same neighborhood putting the same flyer on the same door?
yeah. Well, what we would do is stick them on the mailbox, which it's illegal to put it on the box. You can put it on the post, or if they got a paper box, you can stick it in the paper box. But I'd always stick it on the mailbox and on the post, and that they look at it, call me, and I'd kind of like have a price range on there where my starting price was, and like I said, everybody that called would always say, "I know I can't get my house washed this cheap, but come give me a quote." So it got me in the door,
And
and I'm
that's the beauty of it, right?
I'm still doing some of the same customers I had from day one.
All right, so tell me one thing that you failed in business and the three things you learned from it.
Let's see. The one thing I failed in, I don't know, man. There's a lot of areas I failed in. Let's see. Trying to think what would be a good one, but I don't know. I mean, I've been pretty fortunate not to have too much failure, but I guess one of my failures is, learning how to protect people's property. When I first started, I didn't know anything about protecting people's property and making sure, like we first started, we just get out and start washing. We didn't know anything. But one time I had one guy, I told him, I said, the windows are open now. Be careful. Don't spray inside that window. Well, the lady called me a little bit later on. I ended up buying an $800 laptop because she said she got home, her laptop was sitting in water. So that was pretty good learning experience. So make sure we close all the windows or have them close the windows. So in my little sheet that I give a quote on, it has a checklist now. It says make sure all windows are closed, make sure your pets are put up. We use bleach, anything that may fade, make sure you put it up or notify the worker and so forth. And so I try to cover all those areas now.
Yeah, I never forget one time I had a door and I sprayed that door with house wash mix and she didn't shut it all the way, and it went on that nice hardwood flooring, and I was like, I'm taking my shirt off because I'm trying to find stuff in my truck to go out there to get this soaked up before it screwed it up. So
We had to go restain a couple doors ourselves where
yeah.
we spray
Well,
that
this
mixture.
wasn't even in the door. This was the door open, and it went right into the foyer of it. So I was like, so, but that's a good point of saying how, make sure that you do cover your bases. I always tell people, that was in our, make sure that your windows are closed, the water's turned on, and, we tell everybody to move everything off of there 15 feet away. Because, you go messing with some of these people's grills. Some of these grills are worth more than some of these people's houses around here.
Oh,
So,
that's right. That's right.
some of these grills can be worth $2,000-$3,000, and the last thing I want to do is mess up a grill.
Yeah, I heard that.
Um, so self-limiting beliefs can hurt us a lot of times. Self-limiting beliefs is that thing in the back of our mind saying that you can't do that, you can't do this, you're not very good at that. Tell me a self-limiting belief that you had to deal with and how you overcame it.
Uh, I mean, I'm probably pretty hard on myself of kind of limiting myself what I really can do. And now sometimes I'll look at, certain things, say, I don't know if I can do that, but then I go try it and I end up can. So, but I don't really know. I mean, there's just some things that I look at and I talk myself out of before I even try it. And then I learned over the years, just go ahead and start doing it. And eventually it works out right.
Because you had said you built your own website, is that correct?
That's correct. That's
And
correct.
you started building your website when you were 48 years old, correct?
Correct.
Was you pretty computer savvy when you were 48 years old?
No, when I just always got on and just started playing with it and learning it. That's the best way I could do it. And but no, I mean, I didn't know anything about it. Just get
And
out.
so you was able to build a website that is making you a lot of money over the years and has helped you become successful and has helped change the way, be able to support your family and all of that and other people's families because you have employees, correct?
Correct. Correct. When my wife and I first got married, I made $9,998 a year. So, and I joke all the time. I say sometimes I pay that out in 1 week in salaries when we do big jobs.
So when you was a pastor, what did you was you? I know you had said you did Dave Ramsey. So when you started your pressure washing business, did you have debt or was you debt free at that point?
I was pretty much debt free. I just paid for things as I went along. I've never gone in debt with this business. If I couldn't afford it, I didn't do it. And that's the reason I started out, with junky equipment and old raggedy trailer. I mean, I had 50 foot of hose is all I had. I rolled the pressure washer around the house. And again, we didn't have these sites that we have today that tells you how to do everything right.
They had these thing called forums about 10 years ago, and they're just as bad as the Facebook groups are now. So,
Yeah. When you go doing a big old house, about 5,000 square feet, and you put a ladder spread with a pump up sprayer, that's pretty bad.
yeah, yeah.
And that's what I was doing.
So you were using pump up sprayers. So that tells you you could even start out with a pump up sprayer and a garden hose if you wanted to.
You can, you're real easy. I mean, there's a lot of ways. I always tell guys, if you want to make money, you can get out there and make money.
But what do you got to do to be able to make money if you want to make money?
You got to get out and hustle.
You got to go out there and find customers. You got to go out there and do some work, right?
Well, when we first started, we'd wash anything. We'd wash trucks. We had a fleet of trucks we washed. We washed campers. Now I'm at a place, I don't wash trucks. I don't wash campers. I don't clean out gutters. A lot of things I don't do, I used to do. But when you're hungry, you do anything you got to do to make the money.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. That's exactly right. So, in growing your pressure washing business, what fear did you have to overcome to be able to keep growing or get to the next level?
Uh, I don't know. Just sometimes doubt, just overcoming the doubt, just certain things of building your confidence. And once you get your confidence built up, you feel like then you can do anything. And I don't know, when I approach a customer, I used to go to a customer's house and not know anything. They'd ask me, could I do it? And I'd tell them I could. And I was in business 1 month, and I got a big apartment complex, and I didn't know what I was doing. And I got about 3 apartments into it, and I looked at my guy and I said, what in the world are we doing? I said, there is no way we can finish this thing. Anyway, it took us a week and a half to do that apartment complex, and we do that same apartment complex today in 3 days.
Yeah, I never forget the first time we did our big apartment complex, and we was dumb enough to tell them we would clean the porches on the way up and down, and it's 3 stories, and we're pulling this big 40-foot ladder around to go up and down. And after that, we learned that OSHA's like you're not allowed to go over railings. So then we started being like, hey, we're not doing that stupid stuff anymore, you know.
Did the same thing. We climbed over the balconies, cleaned all the balconies. Now my contract, it says balconies excluded, not included.
Yep, exactly, exactly. So I know what I forgot. So you have a fire hydrant hook up to you. Do you hook up at the hydrant at their houses, or how does that work?
No, usually, my trailer's got 7,000 pound axle, so I'll make sure it's full before I go to someone's house. And like if I get through with a job and I'm about half full, I'll pull up to a fire hydrant anywhere in the city and fill it back up. It takes like 5 minutes to fill it up.
And so how do you have to do that? You have a hydrant meter you just put onto the hydrant,
Well, I have the meter mounted on my trailer, and so all we do is hook the hose to the meter to the fire hydrant.
and then that meter you pay to the water company monthly, or how's that work?
We take a picture of the meter reading, email it to them, and they just automatically withdraw it each month. And I mean, it's real cheap. I think it's like pennies on the gallon because of the going through the hydrant. I mean,
But you're still hooking up to the house, also, correct?
as soon as we get to the house, that's the first thing we do: hook up and keep our tank. Which we can't keep it topped off when we're running 2 of the 10 gallons and the 11-gallon root pump. It'll suck it down pretty quick. But usually we can do a house, and do one job with a full tank, as long as we keep it hooked up and going.
Gotcha. And
There has
go
go ahead.
ahead.
I said there has been times that we had to leave the job and go to a fire hydrant and fill up. There's been like if you're in a county and they don't have any water pressure whatsoever, so we have left the job, go fill up, come back, and finish the job.
And so, what did you have to do to be able to get that hydrant meter?
I went to our local city Lagrange, where the water where you pay your water bill, and talked to them about it. And I gave them $1,000. You have to give them $1,000 deposit, and they give you the meter, and you just keep it until you want to return it. And then they give you $1,000 back. Some cities are like $1,500, and then some cities don't allow it at all.
Right.
But if your city allows it, I mean, it's an awesome thing to have. It's a game changer.
Especially if you're running a full tank, and you're actually on 2 7,000 axles.
Yes. Yep.
So you have a very heavy duty trailer at the end of the day. What do you pull that trailer with?
F-350.
So you're not pulling it with an F-150, correct?
Right. I tried all that years ago. Just doesn't work.
Do you buy a new truck every year too to pull your equipment, or just buy new
And
equipment?
I just buy new equipment. My truck holds up pretty good. It don't get the bleach.
Do you buy you sell that trailer and everything off, or?
I do. I'll sell the whole thing and then just build a whole new outfit. And each time I rebuild, it's something different. I should have done the first time, so I'll change it all up. And Jason, my whole motto is get in and get out. That's the reason I run the big equipment, because we do so many jobs. We cannot stay at a job too long. And, we do the quantity and quality. So we're doing, we're probably doing more jobs in 1 week than most guys do in a month. Just one trailer.
Yep. I'm just asking these questions because that's why I knew some of these questions were coming through. So, and I know people always ask about the fire hydrants, and he is correct about it. Ask your city water company and see what they say. their standard is. Like Cincinnati don't, in some hydrants, like where we live in Cincinnati in northern Kentucky, the threads are different because back in the day, Cincinnati was like, you don't fight my fires, and I'm not going to fight your fires, and it was a big pissing match way back when. And so, you do got to know the regulations of it. It is, I can see, I used the hydrants on almost every, whenever I did apartment complexes, because, I could hook up to it and run a bunch of hose, and I could keep up with it at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
On average, let's see, on average, how long did it take you all to profit six figures? How many techs and how many hours a week?
I mean, what now? Text.
How many techs to do six figures and how many hours a week?
Uh, I
You can
don't
do
know.
six figures with by yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
Jason Hefner just did it last year, did over six figures, and it was by himself. And he's working at the firehouse, so he's a full time firefighter, and he don't work weekends, so it can be done. I got another guy, Brian, up in Indiana, Elkhart, Indiana. He is a teacher, a shop teacher at the school, and so he's doing pressure washing part time, and he did over six figures by himself. So, you know, it can be done, and you don't have to kill yourself. It's just about getting your average ticket up and all of that.
Yeah. Well, when I first started out, I was part time too because I was pastoring. I think I pastored 3 years while I did the pressure washing. Then when I retired from it, I went full time pressure washing.
So, what made you want to go full time pressure washing? You was just tired of preaching in front of people.
Well, not that I was tired of it. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was just part of my life, for 29 years. And it's just, I didn't want to be one of those guys that didn't get out when he should have got out, because after a while you get that age, it's a young man's game. And, people start, I don't know, it's really hard to explain, but when you get to a certain point, I think there's times you need to realize I've done all I need to do, and don't wear it out. Don't kill it before you get out.
And sometimes it's called passing baton on too, and
There you go. That's exactly what I did. I passed it to a younger man.
I mean, I think that being a pastor is just like being anything else. You get tired. Al's on here, said God's calling. He was a school teacher for 33 years before he became a full time pressure washer, and he just got tired of it, and which COVID probably helped that out some. So
Yeah, yeah. We took a church, 18 people, and built it over 300 people, and so we was pretty successful at it. And I got to that point. I felt like I need to step out while I was on top.
but even and then it's going down a little road of going down the rabbit trail, but you know even to grow a church from 18 to over 300 people, it takes things that we got to do the same thing in pressure washing. You got to do marketing. You got to be able to get the word out there to other people to come. You got to get referrals. You got to get other things. At the end of the day, it's not like you're just saying nothing and these people are going to come. You got to be able to grow it and that kind of thing at the end of the day. So pressure washing is the same thing. You got to be able to get referrals. You got to be able to get different things to grow your business so you can be successful. So that way you can get to the next level. Wash Pro here put cleanliness is next to godliness. I've always was taught that, even when I was a mechanic. You got to clean stuff to make sure it didn't screw things up. So
Yeah. And I think what a lot of guys miss the boat is they don't change with time. And that's something that I've always been able to do is like with the soft wash, for an example. When I first started, it was all pressure washing, and I saw the soft wash thing coming on. And so first thing I did is bought the little Bandit soft wash system, and I hated it. And then I went to the 150 psi gas root pump, and it would it would do great, but I couldn't rinse with it. It got to be something better. So that's the reason I went with the AR, the 300 PSI, 11 gallons a minute, so I can wash a house and rinse a house with it. And so, long story short, I saw this thing coming about 6 years ago, changing, and I knew if I didn't get on board and change with it, I'd be left behind. And next thing I know, soft washing started popping up everywhere. Well, I was already, in the groove of it, so it kind of just flowed right on with it. So that's something I think is very important for guys to realize. When things start changing, jump on board, and get ahead of the ball.
Yep. Don't think that you know everything. That's the biggest thing I want to, that's the biggest thing is people think that you know everything and nothing's going to change. Things change. I mean, there's new stuff come out every day. There's new ideas. People want to shoot down these ideas because of this or that. Now, the other thing I'm going to say is be leery of not going down every rabbit hole too, because sometimes we can get burned of that too. Correct?
Correct. Because see, a lot of guys they watch my videos and they see me using the gas roof pump. They think it's easy, and they order it and they don't know how to hook it up. And I don't even make no money off of them. I don't, I just tell them where I buy them. They call these guys and they buy them, and then next thing they're calling me, asking me how to hook it up. And what's this valve for? What's that valve for? And so they're seeing it on video, so you do have to be careful. I mean, it took me a lot of trial and error to get to the place I'm at with a gas roof pump.
Right. You got a mixer valve on that gas roof pump?
I do, and that's something that a lot of these big companies have started going to now because I started out with a 1/2 inch mixing valve, which couldn't get the true mix. And then I went to the 3/4, and you still couldn't get the true mix. So I went to the 1 inch. So everything I run, I have the 1 inch proportioner and 1 inch, or 1 inch metering valve rather. And so everything is 1 inch, so I can get 50/50. And so it's evolved over the last few years, and a lot of these places can't even keep these gas roof pumps in stock now because so many people are buying them simply because of my videos.
And I will put a link down there. I did not put a link in there, but I'll have a link into Leon's channel. So definitely go subscribe to his channel and that. Um, Jimmy Dudley asked, what does your average helper make per week?
They can make $800-900 a week pretty easy.
So they're making how much a week? 800-900?
Yeah, yeah.
Now are they
Like,
working 40 or are you working how long is your normal day on on doing 6 jobs?
well, it used to take us, till dark, but we usually get started around 9 o'clock. And we're done 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Uh, like we do Great Wolf Lodge, they work an hour and a half. I give them $100, $150. But special, I give them a bonus. I always take care of them.
That's the biggest thing. What this guy asked a question, Jason, what exactly do you do now besides feed off the new people industry? Everything you are selling is already all over the internet for free. You're right, buddy. Everything is over the internet for free. You're 100% right. What do? I help people grow businesses. That's what I do. I help people like Jason Hefner make $150,000 last year. I help people like Nick and Greg do over $80,000, starting out at nothing because they lost their job because of COVID. So, you know what I think that the stupidest thing that I hear is why do you charge for training and that? You know what? I still pay for training because you know what I learned a long time ago? When I pay for training and I open my wallet, my brain opens up. That's just a fact. I mean, if I can, you can find everything you want on this phone, everything. But you know what? That don't mean you're going to learn it. That doesn't mean you're going to take it serious. I helped Al right here. He did over $100,000 this year. You know what? That's what I do because you know what? What I learned is to be able to make money is I have to open my wallet because when I open my wallet, my brain opens up because it hurts when I open my wallet. And if you're not willing, the people that I love that can't grow and they complain are the people that won't open their wallet. He had there's conferences. Go to those conferences. The reason why you do is networking. You open your wallet, you go learn. Is that not true, Leon?
That's true. That's true. And your videos, a lot of guys probably like me may never let you know, but I mean, your videos helped me out tremendously over the years. I just stumbled across you on YouTube, and one of the things like the 12-volt proportioner that you fixed up and showed people how to make one. I mean, I never even knew all that. I didn't know to use the blue dope and all that stuff. And I watched the video and watched it about 10 times and went and made my own.
And that's the thing, I've got everything out there for free. Pretty much everything I've taught. And if you want to go here, there, and everywhere, it's for free. My course is just separates, it goes bam, bam, bam down the lamb. When I bring these people on like Leon, my goal is to help you all grow to be more successful. I'm not, do I do it to make money to support my family? Yes, but that's not what makes me excited and what gets me giddy and get going. What makes me giddy and get going is when I see success stories of people changing their family life, changing their family tree, getting out of debt. I have one that have been trying to do the Dave Ramsey and get out of debt for 10 years. And he started pressure washing this year, and guess what? He's almost out of debt. That's what makes me excited. When I can make people have time freedom and financial freedom, that makes me excited. That gets my gears going. It's just like Dave Ramsey. What's he do? Just helps people get out of debt, and he charging all that money, living down there and all that. Yeah, he's giving people financial freedom. What does financial freedom do for you, Leon?
It gives me the liberty to live like no other, do what I want to do.
Exactly. Sorry, I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole. I read that one. I thought he was asking a different question. When I read it out loud, I just realized he was a troll. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and people are getting on him now. So, sorry about that. But I just, I've been to many courses, classes. I've probably spent $25,000 to learn how to do marketing, all of that kind of thing, so that I could grow my business to do over $1 million. If I didn't do that, I would have never got to that next level. I would have never been able to, grow my business to where it is. And, like I say, I still take classes because marketing is important. Coaches, I'm not a big fan of coaches, but I also understand how they can help you grow your business. I've got a lot of knowledge up here that I'm willing to give other people that will help you make sure you don't fall into them pitfalls, because that's what happens is you fall into a pitfall and you get down and you can't get up. I've seen, how many people I've seen fall in a pothole and never get out of it. And that's something that I don't want people to do.
Yeah. If it doesn't cost you anything, you don't appreciate
Exactly. Time freedom and financial freedom is what we all should be doing it for. And of course, to take care of our family. And part of that time freedom is taking care of our freedom. Having time with our family is so important. I don't want you to hustle and grind so much that you're never home, you're never with your family, you're never seeing your kids grow up. That is something that I don't want you to be doing either. I want you to be. I just had a conversation about this the other day with one of the guys that's on my Voxer program of, you're doing this so that you can have more time with your kids. And that is important at the end of the day. Leon is 60 years old. He's got grandkids now, do you not?
it. Oh, yeah.
And do you like spending time with those grandkids?
I love it. Sure do.
And your wife loves to spend money on your grandkids?
Right.
So we're up to 140 people. So tell me if you would start all over again, what would you do?
If I'm starting all over again, well, first of all, I'd probably hook up with someone like yourself, has the understanding. Always tell guys, find somebody that's already in the business and try to see if they will teach you something and ride with them. And, I remember when I first started, Jason, I would call guys, and the first thing they asked me where I live and if I was anywhere close by, they wouldn't give me any information. I called this one guy one time from Tennessee about trying to figure out how to wash a roof. He said, "Where are you from?" I said, "LaGrange." So while he was talking to me, he said, said, I just checked you out online. He said, yeah. He said, you're legit. He said, I'll tell you how to do it. But he said, if you're close by, I won't tell you anything. So, anyways, I always tell guys, go try to find someone that's got some experience and see if they won't try to share some stuff with you. Now, everybody around here is doing what I'm doing now because I've been so open with all of my success. I hadn't tried to keep it back and hide it. And the same, but if I had to do it over again, starting out, I'd make sure I found guys that had the experience that could teach me and get all the knowledge I could, and try to get the right equipment up front, and just get what I needed to get by with until I was able to grow.
It's good advice right there. On marketing side, what would you try to do for marketing wise?
Uh, with all the technology now, I mean, I'd probably try to take advantage of everything I could. And like you said, I'd go to classes. And to me, one of the greatest guys out there right now that's got a lot going on is, David Sessions is pretty good on the marketing side. There's several guys out there good on the marketing that I would hook up with them and try to find out, what I need to do to get my marketing up, which again, I'm not real big on that because I don't have to be right now. But if I wasn't where I was at, yeah, I try to find some guys that knew what they were doing and find out how to get my marketing up. And I'd probably send out postcards. I'd keep a record of every customer I had. One thing I learned: if you ever plan on selling your business, make sure you have emails and contacts of all your customers. Now, every customer I've ever had from day one, I can go back and I can pull their record. I've got all their records. So, if I want to send them postcards each year, or a reminder, or a quarterly reminder, or something like that, I can. So I would keep records of all my customers and make sure I can email them or mail them letters, and just keep my face in front of them, keep my business name in front of them.
That's a good point. For sure. Do you have a CRM, or you just have the old style CRM of a box of papers?
Yeah, just the old style. That's
Notebooks and notebooks worth of names and addresses.
Well, I've got, yeah, I've just got, I've got all the receipts when I go to a customer's house, I give them a copy of what I'm going to do, and I keep a copy.
Yeah.
And so they can't say I said I was going to do this or do that. And plus, I keep that every year. So I can go back and pull my very first customer I ever did because I've got a copy of, their name, their address, their phone number, whatever.
So I'm gonna hit some questions right here. State Line put, how do you get in contact with commercial places like Dollar Tree and stuff? Full Force Maintenance answered this. This guy, Full Force Andrew, is he has been in business with some big company. His family, I believe it was, did a couple $1 million a year doing commercial, and basically he says talking to people, meeting managers, getting the correct contacts. You click with the person that will get you to the right job. He also put go meet them in person also. Some other things you can do to try to get that is do LinkedIn, email marketing, all of that kind of stuff is how you're going to get that commercial stuff at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Financial freedom discussed with real estate investors. Focus on this topic, not being wrapped up in time and effort in business instead of family and life. So, Leon reminds me of $1 million roofer I know. Output. So walk in. Greg has gotten quite a bit of work by just walking in, talking to the managers. And this isn't something that you're going to just do one day and think that you're going to get all this business. It's repeat over and over and over. A lot of this stuff that I teach and anybody teaches is over and over and over and over.
Yeah. Greg's done a great job out of the back of his truck.
He done it out of less than. He started off with a 2.3 pressure washer, and he called me and he's like, "I'm gonna buy one of them. I'm gonna buy one of your trailers this year." And I'm like, "No, you're not," because I told him, I was like, "Just keep on going," and I'd like just put two 55-gallon drums in the back of your truck. He ended up doing that, and did over $80,000 since March of last year. So
That's great. I'm proud of him. He's an awesome guy.
He is an awesome guy. He'll help anybody. He'll do anything for you. But he's a hard worker. He keeps at it, and that is what makes Greg awesome. So,
You know, Jason, one thing around here, I never look at guys that do pressure washing as my competition. There's a lot of times I'll call them and give them jobs that I can't get to, ask if they want to go do them. Because we stay so busy. But I never look at it as competition, because if you look at it as competition and you get to the place, if you go to a customer's house, they use it one time. If you start bad mouthing them, next thing you know, you look bad. I always try to talk up the other guys as well as myself.
yep, Leon has helped me a lot too. So, both of
Thanks,
you all
Greg.
are Georgia folks.
Yep, he's not too far from me. I call him the concrete whisperer. he, he does a great job of cleaning concrete.
With a little cold water machine. So,
Yep, and one restore.
I love Greg. Greg is one, like I say, when he first started and he asked me all kinds of questions, he gave me a sob story. I gave him a month free, and he was one that I kind of took under my wing of helping him out, talking to him on Facebook Messenger a bunch. And he was one that I had two success stories that were both sob stories coming in, and both of them turned out very well. So that is
That's
awesome. That is what makes me excited, so that I can help people start and grow and change. Greg is one that Greg Townsend is one that he has a heart. He had his problems. He's been clean, I believe, for 5 years, but he hasn't given up on other people trying to get clean. And by him starting his own business and by him doing this, he's able to do two things that he loves to do. He's able to coach his kids' football team, and he's a great coach in teaching these kids how to be good and that kind of stuff. And he helps out with the recovery program in his area. And by him being able to run his own business, he's been able to do both of these things that he would have never been able to do under that. So by me helping him start and grow his business, he has literally turned other people's lives around. And it's not monetary gain, but it's way better than that, to my opinion, and probably your opinion being a pastor. Is that not correct?
Oh, yes, yes. I love to hear that. A lot of times, I mean, being a pastor for so many years, still helping people, and I'll go to an elderly person's house and I'll wash their house free. And sometimes I'll do a whole church free. I'll, donate some of my time, and that's good advertisement too, because when you do something for somebody, they're going to talk about it.
Yep. Yep. Awesome. So I'm not going to keep you all night, but on one last note, what is something that you would tell a new person that's starting out, starting in pressure washing business?
Uh, I tell them probably, again, just kind of when you're just starting out, this is what I always tell guys. First of all, you're not going to be able to go out here and probably charge what I charge, because you don't have the experience that I have. So you got to know your limitations, what you're able to do, and grow your business. As you grow your business, do it on trust, do it on loyalty, do what you say you're going to do, give them fair, honest prices, and just you keep plugging at it, and it'll grow. But I mean, these young guys that's just starting out, I think sometimes we get on here, and some of us that's been doing it for years, we talk about how much money we're able to make, and they're thinking they can go charge the same thing. But how can a guy that's never washed a house charge somebody $500 and they've never washed the house? And so, they got to kind of work their way up to that sometimes. And they're going to be a little cheaper. And that's okay to be a little cheaper because you don't have the experience. But eventually, you'll be able to grow and raise your prices, and your equipment be able to get better. And eventually, you may be running three crews. You don't know. It's just stay at it, stay focused.
Amen. I agree on that 100%. Brad Terry must be a competitor of you, or a friend of yours. I've been in business for 1.5 years and served the same market as Leon. He has always been willing to offer advice and any help needed.
Yep. Brad is a great guy. And, I'd help him any way I can. And he's another one. Yeah, he and I, if we bid the same job, we'll call each other. And, if he wants a job, I'll overbid it so he can have it.
Slow and steady wins the race, not a marathon. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's right.
So awesome. Well, Leon, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it very much. Hang on here. Don't go. Let's see if I can get off here, and if we can talk afterwards, that'll be great.